Hello. So, I, before resuming work on this PC, need to check in the last stuff I was doing on the plane. I checked in most of it through the miracle of airplane internets, but the rest of it, no. Um, aha. Okay. Okay. I'm also pretty hungry. So it's good that I have some food here. Okay. Nutritious organic meal, fresh, handmade. How's it going, everybody? Seems like just 10 minutes ago I was in a Starbucks. Yeah, in Denver, they have these kind of lamps all over the place. And they had a different kind that I maybe should have thought about getting where it's like some kind of metal outer thing, like, I don't know, aluminum or something. And then a bunch of holes drilled in so that the color projected out is like, well, it's not color, it's just like light. I don't know. It was cool. We've got a brand new box of Japanese snacks. We've got a sody pop. Only one, though. It's the last one. If I thought of getting a neon sign of my name, yeah, I mean, that's the year 2022 streamer. The 2020 model was having the little triangular LED lights that then turned into the hexagonal LED lights. What's 2024 going to be? I don't know. Like I've got to get ahead of the curve. I can't just like be behind the curve. So guys, I pushed the button on a really cool TV that should get delivered Thursday. If it sucks, I'll tell you. I'll show you. I'll go to the Amazon page of what it is. so we can gossip about my TVs. Because I haven't actually had a TV in a long time. I had one in my Seattle place that I bought that was pretty new. It was like an LG TV. And I gave it to Casey when I moved out of Seattle because he was in Seattle. And like, why move a giant TV like that? And that's what we were gaming on last week when I was streaming over from Casey's place, was the TV that I gave him. I did push the Whopper button. Let me show you what I got. Because I went to Best Buy to look at all the TVs. Like, I was thinking, should I get an LG G2 or whatever? And just like with laptops, they're all like super glossy. So I kind of don't care how bright they are because you can like see shit in the room in it, right? But they have this thing that like isn't quite as bright, and the off angle isn't quite as good, but like it's completely matte. So I was in this Best Buy looking around, and all the TVs are like basically mirrors, except this one, which is just like awesome. You can just see the frickin' thing. Apparently when it's quote unquote off, you can display stuff on it. I don't know if it's actually, I assume it is drawing power at that time, but maybe it's not. I didn't bother to do the research, but like maybe the LEDs are like low power or no power, like color situation. I'll find that out when I get it. But I just liked what it was as a TV. Let's see if they show the stats. Let's look up the stats. But I got a 75-inch, which should be, that's a nice and small American TV. That's basically, 50 centimeters for you Europeans. But the actual matteness of the screen was amazing, dude. It was like so much better than everything else. All right. 2022 specs. What are the specs? Is flatpanelshd.com a reasonable website? Probably not. It's probably just one of these data mine bullshits. Quantum process. Dude, marketing for these things is banana cakes. So it does do G-Sync, by the way, which some of the other TVs did not do. I was looking at the Sony one, and it did not do that. So it does HDR10. It doesn't do Dolby Vision. I don't know what the hell HLG is. I don't care that much about HDR. This isn't like the brightest TV, right? So if Dolby goes up higher, that's probably why it doesn't do it. I don't actually know. Anyway, so it's going to be dope. I might stream using that as a display at some point because it was pretty cool. Rtings.com. Rtings. Samsung The Frame 2022. They only give it a 7 for movies, probably because it's not as bright. I don't trust rating sites like this. It's just like laptop rating sites are complete trash, right? So why would I believe a TV rating site? Yeah, like they're taking benchmarks of how bright it is and stuff, which I don't care. Like within reason. They care about like how thin the bezels are. I don't care. It's fucking stupid. I don't care about any of that stuff. That's when I stopped watching like Dave's reviews on YouTube. Like he's one of the tech reviewers, like Linus Tech Tips. And like he was reviewing a laptop and he spent the whole time talking about how thin the bezels were. And I was like, I've used that laptop. I know it sucks, so I stopped watching his channel. All right. Um, anyway, so we'll see how the TV is when we get here. What do they say for the Sony? What is it? Sony XD. What is the new? What's the new Sony TV? Let's see what they say for that. I bet it scores higher because it's got slightly brighter X95K. Yeah, 8.3. Like what gets more than an 8 on this site? This TV costs like $5,000. Anyway. Can also create your own rating combination, but it's not going to matter because like the things I care about are not even going to be stats on the site. Just QLED, not OLED. I already explained why I got that TV. I explained why I got the QLED TV. Laser projector, short throw, 120-inch screen. I mean, I don't think I've seen recent projector setups, but I've seen older ones like 5 or 10 years ago, and I just didn't like them. Maybe newer ones are better. Let's see what people say about this TV that I bought for gaming. Oh, look, it went to Artings. Video games. It doesn't give me a latency number. Like, what good is this site? This site sucks. Hold on. Search again. It's like this text is like, it's kind of like it was written by an 8th grader. Well, that's the 2021 anyway. I don't know, dude. Anyway, the lags these days are all down under 5 milliseconds for pretty much any TV, which is great compared to how it was like in the Xbox 360 generation when many TVs had like 3 frames of lag. Not wanting a glossy screen with loads of glare is not really niche. You would think that that's not really niche. But if you walk into Best Buy, every fucking television is a mirror. Except for this one. Like, it's nuts, dude. It's the same thing with cars, right? Like, here's the thing. If you see like a really nice car that has like a matte wrap on it, it looks really sick. But like, you can't buy a car that's matte. I don't know why. They just make them shiny. Maybe that's just what people buy because it's shiny, right? I don't know. But matte cars look better. And that's not even a functional thing. Like TVs and laptops, it's so much more important. Can get an anti-gloss screen cover. Yeah, those are terrible. I tried using one on a laptop for a while. They're awful. Input lag is 6 to 10 milliseconds. Okay, so that's not great, but you know, we'll see how it goes. Does practicing LeetCode help you be a great programmer? I doubt it. Trying to solve hard problems that are at the edge of your ability is what makes you a great programmer. If LeetCode code is at the edge of your ability and it feels like what you're doing there is useful and not a waste of time, then great. But if those things aren't true, then who knows? What the hell is this? It's some like green. It's actually not bad. I'm going to have a mochi and then we're going to start delivering value. Wasabi gummy. It was not a gummy and it was not wasabi, although it looked like it. Colors on matte screen look more washed out. According to who? And why is that better than getting eye strain because you can't see what's on the fucking TV because all you see is yourself? Like, people are so bad at decision making. It drives me nuts. Like, yeah, the TV I got is less bright than the other ones. You know, it's like 10 or 20% less bright, which is basically nothing given the brightness of modern televisions. How is the metaprogramming? I mean, we have, like everybody else who has metaprogramming, mostly copied it from the presentations I did like 6 years ago, or 7 or 8 years ago. So ours is much better, as you would expect. Like when you come in here and you ask like, hey, is this language that implemented some of the ideas you talked about 8 years ago, is your language as good as that? It's like, what do you think my answer to that question is going to be? Okay. It is kind of nuts that I've been working on this for that long, but you know, that's life. It's the price we pay for quality. You're curious about how it works. I mean, here's the thing is like, it's a whole thing. It's like, there's a lot. It's one of the main emphases of the language. So it's not just like a little bit of expression evaluation and a little bit of introspection or whatever. It's like a lot of things that are all integrated and work together. And so it's hard to explain it in a capsule kind of way. Okay, I think I updated. I did. All right, so let's make sure we got to compile the compiler. That is going to be important. What is on the agenda? Well, when last we were working in Starbucks, we were doing some documentation for the people about features that were not documented. And then on the plane, I ended up revising the way that the using stuff that we documented, the way that works internally, because I just decided it would be better a different way. So I probably spent at least an hour on that. And then I started writing a new documentation. No, 095. About static if. Whoops, about static if. And I have about 183 lines. And I want to at least finish this. So I can show you, I just start by saying, hey, here's static if. It operates on constant expressions, right? And here's what happens if it's not constant. And you could use run directives. And you could use different data types, right? And then I was about to, when the plane started landing, talk about scopes here. And I also did this cross-platform example, like, here's a practical reason why you would want static if. Like, I'm going to switch off the operating system and do different things on each one. And so we can verify that this still compiles here. Right? Control C, because I want to compile this. Yeah. So actually, it's not Wario, it's Warrior. So I don't know why we didn't get the whole name. Oh, because it's not zero terminated. I assumed it was zero terminated. I do not want to get sued by Nintendo, so let's fix this. I should read the Linux documentation as well. So let's, this is excluding 0. All right. So now we shouldn't be Wario anymore. There we go. Okay, we already fixed a problem. Now, on Linux, get hostname. I assume that returns the size including 0, but let's look it up. Also, I haven't yet actually tried compiling that on Linux, but get hostname. Get hostname. Size T, len. Null terminated host name in the character array name, which has length of n bytes. If the null terminated has too large fit, error is returned. Return value on success 0 is returned. I probably got that wrong. Get host name. If the result is not equal to 0. So it doesn't actually tell you how long it is. It knows how long it is, but it says, fuck you, do a strlen. So we have to do that. All right. I've got too many windows. Go away. Go Goldwave. We don't need you open. Okay. Okay. We'll even close this. All right, so we'll test the Linux later, but there we go. Have I ever been sued? One time I had a shady landlord who tried to like sue me to vacate the apartment, claiming that I wasn't paying rent when in fact I was. And they were so stupid that like I had been out of town and I had been FedExing them the checks. And so I had delivery receipts of the checks. But they, like the secretary knew that, but the other people in the company didn't or whatever. So they tried to sue me claiming that I wasn't paying rent. And I'm like, guys, I have delivery receipts of all these checks. Yeah. With that TV, you can get a subscription to Samsung's art store. Hell yes. Does foreign system library insert dynamic library loading code? What we do is we link statically when possible, yeah. We might think about, if it helps simplify matters, doing a thing where we load dynamic libraries on startup, but I'm a little bit loath to implement that unless I know for sure that it's going to make things a lot simpler, because if it doesn't do that, then it's just more complication, and we don't want that, because we're trying to simplify and make things that work better, right? Okay, so static if, no subscope. All right, so if OS is equal to .windows, operating name is micros tilde 1 Windows, else name Linux is from 1991. It is for boomers. That's all right. So micros tilde 1 Windows. Okay. Did they drop the suit? Yes, but the way they dropped the suit caused me problems later. I should have sued the fuck out of them. Okay. So that's just a simple thing. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do... See, I thought this was... You know what? Okay. Let's do this. See, here I'm talking about the OS variable, so I haven't really introduced it here. So maybe we need a different example. Um, hmm, 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 hmm. In the, what is this one called? Print stuff. In the print stuff example above, but here we are doing it explicit. Here is a simpler example calling attention to this one thing. I am lying. The other guy is telling the truth. All right, so that's fine. That it's just a very simple boiled down example to make it very clear. That's why I got rid of the floats and all these things. There we go. Place in St. Pete seems like a good quiet place to work. Are you kidding? Dude, St. Pete is like a nutty party town now. It's like bananas here. It's like, are there any downsides to not creating a subscope? No, I mean, you can, if you want, you can make a scope around it, right? So that's not a big deal. The only real downside is it's just confusing to see braces. And, you know, most of the time braces means subscope, but here it doesn't. And so, you know, we might change the syntax later for that reason. But, you know, as frequent visitors to the stream know, I don't like to sweat too much about syntax because I think it just causes people to rat hole away from important issues. So sometimes if I have a really good, obvious syntax idea that looks like it's all upside, I'll just do it. But in this case, I don't. Like, I could use other weird brackets, like I could use square brackets or something, but those mean something different, right? I could use parentheses, I guess. I don't know. It's just, it's easy for it to be weird, right? And so since I don't know something that's obviously better, I'm just doing this for now. Are both parts of the static if compiled? No. That is the point. It's like if in C. It's like hash if in C, where you don't compile the things in the else. There's no branch. There's literally no branch. Because if you only compile one of them, then there's no runtime question about what's happening. You could be typing the syntax for the rest of your lives. Not really. No, there's a plan for that. We have a better plan than most other people do about what to do about that. Any instance in which invalid syntactical constructs can be present? Yes, we are actually going to cover that in this very file. So stay tuned. You remember trying to comment out some broken code temporarily using if and it tried to compile it? Well, depends on what you mean by compile. It depends on what you mean by compile. We are going to clarify in this very file. Dude, they have all sorts of weird stuff in St. Pete. Like, they have this place that's like a mini golf course, but it's all made out of beer kegs. Like, that's what kind of town this is now. So you get your beers and then you drink the beers while you do the mini golf course made out of beer kegs. I'm sure there are photos of this on the internet. Let's see. St. Petersburg beer keg mini golf. Okay, this is not a very good picture of it. And I guess on Tuesdays it's not open very late, but like it's just funny. Is this like a life-size beer pong? Is that what that is? I don't even know it. Okay. Anyway. Oh, you know where I need to go? I need to go to 2D Cafe. I haven't been there yet. Like, this is what 2D Cafe looks like. Well, the food is very 3D, I guess. The Glass Museum, the Chihuly one? I'm not big into Chihuly. Okay. But like, this is what kind of town this is. There's like fun places like that that are just around. Okay. So, cross-platform. Okay, so interior must parse. Okay. All right. So, if in this language was vaguely modeled after if from C, in that from the C programming language, the C language, people might not know what the hell C is, in that it serves approximately the same purpose. The behavior is pretty different though. Here, if is not a preprocessor directive. There is no built-in preprocessor. As a result, accordingly, the contents of the then and else blocks must parse at all times, even on platforms where they will even must just not confuse it, must parse at all times. This is good in some ways because it avoids certain classes of code rot that can take effect in C programs where when the contents of some if are not compiled for a long time. The downside is that as yet you don't have the same degree of syntactic freedom in terms of the way if and macros. If works with macros. The goal is to ensure this method of doing if is revealed to be clearly superior. That's not quite the right way to say it. The goal is to ensure that in the long run, this method of doing if is made to be clearly superior. Okay. Okay. Boolean is false. If Boolean, the body of this if will not be compiled beyond the parse phase. will cause a parse error if you delete the following that has been placed here just to keep it parsing. All right. Well. Okay, print hello sailor, new line. All right. So if I comment this out, boom. Okay. Cool, cool. Imagine Museum. Is it the John Lennon Museum? Oh, I didn't know that this was a thing. Why is there a butt there? Okay, it's a lungs. It's lungs, but also a butt. This looks pretty cool. Yeah, I mean it's walking distance. I live like over here somewhere off the east side of the map there. Stream from 2D Cafe. Maybe I should do that. My sody pop is out. Okay. So when we said above that the then and else blocks whichever block is judged. I don't know how to even say this, right? Like, how do you say the block that corresponds to the false condition to the truth value of the condition? It's like so convoluted. Will case a parse error. We said above that if chooses not to compile code in whichever block is rejected. What we really meant is that the code does not survive beyond the parsing phase. It is not type checked. The identifiers do not need to be defined. It is not type checked, and no runnable code is generated. Thus, code inside if is pretty cheap. Rejecting code inside if is pretty cheap in terms of compile time than building, I don't know. Rejecting code inside if is pretty cheap in terms of CPU usage compared to building it all the way into executable code. Okay. If false, this identifier does not exist equals 42. All right. So we're just making clear all these rules that the people don't necessarily know. Okay. Just because my eye darted to this one, let's just do this one. This is simple. Right? Oh, that's actually right. That's a type. Let's do that. Boom. Okay. Of course you can nest if inside. Cool. Very simple. Boom, boom, boom. What is the reason for not type checking and fully compiling the nested or rejected blocks? Because that is the whole point of a compile time if, is to enable you to do that. I will let you read this text while I get a snack here out of the box. I guess maybe I'll just finish eating this cookie thing. Tokyo Caramel Financier. Okay. Can macros have ifs inside them? Yes, they absolutely can. Okay. So we there are so if only works at statement level, and there are some contexts in which some places, let's not use the word context. I don't remember any of the spells. Let's just say that's enough. Okay. So this doesn't actually work. Wait. Really? Oh, we're not. Hold on. What? It's not supposed to work. Wait, what? When did I make that work? Guys, I thought it didn't work. I was about to claim that it didn't work. I typed all the text about how it didn't work, and now it just frickin' works. All right. Okay, well. One other current constraint is that if only works at statement level. I don't think I have compile time ifx. Although the parser might. Parse directive. I mean, we parse a static ifx. Okay, we're going to have to figure out if ifx is a thing. I think actually maybe it is. Okay. Let's do this other places. So far we have only shown if working inside imperative scopes in procedures, but it works in global and file scopes and in other places. 2, for example, inside genomes and inside structs. Spell info is a struct. Name is a string. caster is a string. If enable extra spells, spell mana juice. All right. Okay, we don't even call this other places. Oh, wait. Other places, other places. Okay, boom. Cool. Now we say static effects, right? Value effects OS is equal to a name. Ah. I can do this one now. Okay, this is a little bit weird. Okay. I guess that works. Yeah, I think it's important to document what doesn't work because A, people need to know that. They need to know the outlines of the feature. Like, a lot of times, this is the thing about all these people making these programming languages, right? That's kind of trendy. They're sort of trying to sell you their language. So they'll kind of like not really cover what's not good about it, right? But you need to do that, both to be intellectually honest and to motivate your own improvement of the system, right? It's very important to be very conscious of what is not ideal at all times. And that's the thing is like all these programming languages, well, not all of them, but many of them devolve into just these like yes men enthusiast circles where everybody thinks everything about the language is great. And it's like, well, no, that's probably not true about anything ever made by human beings, right? So it's just important to have a realistic attitude. Okay. Now I think I can do this. Yeah. So we're going to explain this. We're going to explain this. We're going to show you how things really work aboard a starship. Let's use that. Instead of using 69.1045 all the time, let's use 16309. Okay. So, if only works at statement level, But if you want to, generate expressions, if you want to make static decisions at an expression level, there is if_x corresponding to the dynamic construct if_x. Okay. As with if_x, the reason we have a separate keyword for this as with if_x, as with dynamic, is because the expression version introduces a new constraint that the compiler needs to clearly know the return value of each block, the expression value, and the types of these two expressions must type check correctly against each other to determine the type of the if_x as a whole, of the if_x expression as a whole. I'm just getting hungry again. All right. When you use if_x, there's a little bit of extra gunk in that currently a semicolon after the then block, if there is an else block. Okay, why? It has to do with the way it vaguely has to do with the way the expression value of each block is determined. As with many functional languages, it's just the last value in the block. We could have introduced some keyword that's like return but different, but we did not. But this did not necessarily seem worth it. So you can have your blocks be long sequences of statements with a value at the end. Yeah, this is maybe a little weird, and we will revisit it at some point. I hope I get this quote right. What is the actual quote? Is it literally you have to learn? Wow, I remembered it really wrong. You have to learn why things work on a starship. Okay. Cool. So, Um, are we not even calling that static effects? No, we are. Wait, what? I'm deciding. Oh, because we don't. Okay. There we go. I bet people had no idea that this was a thing. Can run directives recurse? I mean, what do you mean? What is even the question? Once you're inside a run directive, you're just running code. Like what? Of course you can recurse. Are nested executions? You're thinking of it wrong. You're thinking about the model that some other languages have, where you can do like a tiny little bit of compile time execution, and that's like supposed to be a big deal. That's not how it is here. You say run, and you're like fucking firing the Gatling gun until you return. All right? It's like not there's no like these questions that you're asking don't make any sense. You're like asking me, can your C program recurse? It's like, of course. You're asking me, are parts of your C program sandboxed from other parts? I'm like, well, no. Why would I want that? I think he means having run inside a run directive. You could do that, but it's meaningless and pointless because they both just do the same thing. What that would, I mean, that would force the inner one to run before the outer one. But again, you're already in a Turing complete program. You can do things in whatever order you want anyway, right? So it's just not, it's not that useful. Okay. If there was global state mutated by the outer run, does the inner one see that? Okay, so here's the current state of this. I used to back up and restore global state between run directives so that they all saw a completely clean version of the global variables. This was kind of slow, and I just wasn't seeing any benefit from it. It was a thing that I did because it seemed like the right thing to do. But actually, in a lot of cases, it's the wrong thing to do. Like if you have some system, like, I don't know, like you've got some audio system, like for some reason, this is what popped into mind because it's something that has coherent state. Like if for some reason you thought it was a good idea to play sounds at compile time, then like you want to initialize the audio system, but then you want it to like stay initialized, right? And if you're resetting all the globals, it's kind of like, well, nothing can stay initialized unless they do something really wacky, like look up a shared memory segment managed by the operating system. So at some point, you're actually adding complexity by forcing that. And since there wasn't a benefit from it, what I do instead is I say, we clear out the variables for the executable. So unless you declare otherwise, any changes you make to globals during runs are going to be reset for, the runtime executable, although there are ways to avoid that even. But they don't get reset between run directives right now because it just, it wasn't worth it. Okay. 1 year of lurking. Well. All right, is this enough documentation? I feel like it is. I feel like it's Miller time for me. It is officially tomorrow. You know what we could do? We could make sure that these run on Linux, which, again, I have to do on my laptop that you can't see. Let's make sure that tests run we can run them in LLVM backend as well. Yeah, and decisions like that one that I just mentioned about resetting the globals, it's always possible that we'll change those decisions again. If for some reason there's a good reason, right? If it becomes evident that one way is clearly better than another way, then yeah, we should do that. Wow. How are the tests so fast now? Have I just been running on my laptop for so long that I'm not used to them being that fast? All right. I guess Raphael fixed this weird spin weight thing that was happening, but that was a long time ago now. All right, so this is good. What did I change in? This is before I left on the trip. Oh, look, a new line or white space. Let's not do that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the thing about compile time execution in this language is it's a systems language, so you can crash the compiler by messing up, right? Like we don't, like a lot of people would consider that to be awful and weird, but like that's just the kind of language this is. At some time later, we might try to do more sandboxing, but you'll never be able to totally sandbox it because it's literally just running a systems level program. Like that is just what we're doing. And that's what makes us different from a lot of languages is, we are making that design decision that a lot of people will tell you on the internet is foolish and horrible. Like all the frickin' D language people were telling me how fucking stupid it is to run compile time code that has side effects because, oh my God, what happens when a hacker deletes your hard drive? And I'm like, that's just not our use case. And you already are going to let hackers delete your hard drive. So there's not like even a difference. All right. So yeah, it's just so silly. All right. So I'm building on the Linux machine and we're going to see. Gotten to see me. You've gotten to see me deliver value in multiple states. Yes, and in multiple time zones. We have been time zones apart. High school, university, and started a startup. I mean, don't make me too sad, man. Don't make me too sad. All right. It has been a while, it's true. But, it's a big project. When you get on the beta and you see all the features, it's like, okay. Like, it really is. it's a C++ replacement language, so it does a lot of stuff. Okay, it looks like some stuff is failing in Linux right now. Hopefully some of it is stupid stuff. Okay, the file we were just working on. Oh, because size t I didn't define. And then someone's including Windows. Why are we loading Windows still? Okay, the using only and accept test is importing Windows. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Hold your horses. It's this thing where once a lot of tests fail, there's so much spam in the errors. All right, I think I just accidentally included Windows. Okay. Let us see. Features using only and accept. Now I've got to wait for WSL to load a file for 5 minutes. I broke the build. Well, sort of, except that we're a little bit more lax about breaking Linux because it's not what the team uses. Yeah, this one just imported Windows for no reason, so that's great. And we just, when that happens, we just frickin' spam errors. Like, I should at some point take care of that. Okay, and then the 095 that we were just working on. I know these aren't the only 2 tests that failed, but there's a lot of errors. So after this is done, actually I'll run the tests again. So size t we don't have. Now I have to spend 5 minutes because it takes a minute every time I load a file in WSL. And like, where's the declaration of size t? Where is it? Please, size t. Okay, well it's not even there. Dude, this is so painful. So painful. So painful. So painful. Size T. It's U64. All right. All right. So it looks like now that is the only one that failed. And let's try building it. Still failed. Wanted pointer to S8. Now it built how to 095 static if. And it runs. It runs. And it says Linux is from 1991. It's for boomers. And audio doesn't work. It says all these things. All right. Fix some Linux problemos. Well, I think it's time to ship it. I mean, there's always more documentation that we could write. So we did if. We want to document expand and as, but we're going to put that on the list here. And we're not going to hold off from delivering value to the people. Oh, we didn't say added how to 095 static if to explain if and if x. Wait. Did I not check this in? I know. Okay, whatever. Hold on. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, I guess I didn't check it in from here. Okay. This is fine. It's not that much in the way of like actual. I mean, this is a big feature. There's not a lot of fixes this time. Sometimes we just go fix. But these are major and this is major. So it's like Lee Majors. Lee Majors is the $7 million man. All right, so. Better check tests in Windows again. Oh, we will. We will. All right. In fact, so we did LLVM last time. Let's do x64. And now I got to compile. I'm going to run tests. Even though all I literally changed is the version number, we are going to do it. $6 million for 1974 is 36 million today. Imagine, okay, even that said, imagine a show called The $40 Million Man. That's like not that much by modern standards because medical things have just inflated so much in cost, even relative to everything else. Like it would have to be the $40 billion man, right? Like he's got to at least cost as much as one F-35, right? F-35 per plane cost is 77 million, but that's like just the manufacturing cost, right? That's like not the maintenance cost for the life of the plane. All right. And then there's 100 million carrier variants. Why didn't someone give me $77.9 million? Okay. I mean, this is great. This is great. Let me run the tests here. Bro. All right. That's fine. All right. So I've checked in the Linux binary. I will update it here. Oh, we haven't got our new Windows binary yet. What's going on? Did I do that too fast? Did it fail? Like I checked it in, bro, at 12:11. What are you doing? Tests failed. What? How'd they fail? Oh, good. Gmail wants to verify that it's me. How come the test failed? Oh my God, look at all the emails that I have. I don't want all these emails. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, it's been talking about fails. The ASM x86 test is failing? All of a sudden? What is happening? Why am I not seeing this locally? Yeah. Tests ABI ASM x86. Fuck. It must mean that it says failed to compile here, but it's just like not running. God damn it. Why is this the bane of my life? Okay, so thing number one to do is force rebuild because we don't trust Visual Studio. It's probably not Visual Studio's fault, but the problem is sometimes it is because we did change some headers and sometimes that's very bad. I don't think that's the problem here, but it's not failing to compile right here. It is fucking failing to run though, which is pissing me off. Let's just look at what. So this is a very weird thing because the build server is telling me it can't compile it, but this is telling me it can't run it. And I don't. Let's see if the debug compiler has anything to say about this. Like, when did it start breaking? So, like, it built one after I checked this in, which is like the scary changes. And then this is just all how-to files. Like, not even compiler source. This is the weird thing, is like, compiler source was not changed. Now what's weird is, okay, the ASM thing crashing, it's not being run by the tests. So we actually, that's a separate freaking issue that I'm going to have to try to figure out, but I'm not going to let it stop me from shipping the beta. The question is why it simply doesn't frickin' compile, and I'm not getting enough information. It's just saying it doesn't compile. Link error reading program database. Okay. This is one of these frickin' things where there's like a zombie file open. I think. Like, this is one of the bad things about Windows's process model. Hey, look at all my Chromes. Okay, I do not see a compiler running. Do I have the sysinternals process explorer situation? Downloads. Proc. Nope, apparently not. Process Explorer. Windows sysinternals. Download Process Explorer. Got to do it every time. Why doesn't Microsoft just make this shit work? Because, all right. Because they want you to do something different. All right, agree. Okay, so we need to find who is holding open the handle. You've got to know how things work aboard a starship. Like, it's so stupid. It's failing to link because it can't open the PDB file. And that is causing our entire fucking build to fail. So we could do find handle or DLL ASM x86.pdb. This might not be the problem. Reboot to use my computer. I mean, we might have to reboot. It's true. Okay. Oh, was it not done? All right. Let's see if we can delete the file. Like, sometimes the file ends up with weird permissions and it can't overwrite it. Oh no, it's in tests ABI, ASM x86.pdb. So this file did change at 12:15 a.m., which is like probably last time. I'm just going to delete it. And I'm just going to poke the build server. If all else fails, check in a new line so that your build server rebuilds. Bump the build server. Where by build server, I mean also on this machine. Let's see what it does. I mean, we won't be able to see all the details, but Bump the build server. I don't know why it goes back and gets info for that many builds, because we don't care. I don't understand why we do that. Well, it ran the tests. I think it was literally it didn't like the PDB file and it was trying to incremental link it or something. Which could be our fault. Like maybe we outputted a corrupted PDB one time. But I've also seen that happen in C++, so rip. Rip. Rip, 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 ripperoonie. Mickey Rooney. Ripperoonie. As a build server bespoke, I mean, the whole point of making a programming language is to make it good to write software in. So why would we have tools that are not in our language? You got to commit. You got to go all the way. You got to just do it. Oh man, I got one of these like Japanese breast implant things. I'm scared of this. Do we have any facilities for async IO? I mean, does your operating system have any facilities for async IO? We do. Our current intern, who's about to finish his internship, was writing a cross-platform module for that. But you know what it's doing underneath? It's giving you hopefully a more convenient API for what is underneath. You know, just using the various operating systems APIs. Normally your name file's old instead of deleting them. Yeah, but it's a PDB file. Like we don't want it. We don't want it. All right. So if I update now, so we didn't have to change any actual code. So I don't feel like I need to change the revision number to like a B or anything. Let me make sure this is up to date. We are packing the things. ePol overlapped IOKQ. I don't know. I don't frickin' care. I think all of these are pretty bad usually. Like, I just, yeah. I think we use IO urine. Okay, we have a beta. Now the ASM x86 test probably, whoops, I just want to know, but I'm pretty sure it still crashes. Yeah. Is that? Yeah, it just freaking crashes. So we're going to have to think about that. Although, so it might be crashing because of the exception handler. I doubt it. But we might be running some code that like doesn't like that. So anyway, it might not be an actual like bug exactly. Okay, so that is on the list to investigate, and I'm going to rename this file. Betas upload. Upload that. Upload that. Earlier, I mean, I would say that the rant in this VOD is not a particularly high quality coroutine example. Also, didn't I say that at Starbucks? Yeah, it wasn't here. Yeah, and that was not my best rant, but it's just coroutines. No, we don't do anything like that. Like the model, basically the model of this programming language is like, hey, the language should be powerful enough that if somebody wants to write a module that has a really good async IO abstraction, then they should be able to do that, and you should be able to use it. And, if somebody comes up with a really good idea there and people use it and like it, then that's great, right? But I don't see anything like that as being appropriate for language level featureness, because everything I know about parallelism tells me it's not a good idea. All right, so I'm going into high security mode. What is all this email I've got from the Game Awards and AIAS Game Maker's Notebook and a potential business partner and this co-working space near where I live and the return receipt for my rental car and Pacific Gas and Electric, even though I don't live in California anymore. Oh my God, it's from GOG.com, pure VPN, my YouTube receipt because I watched Judge Dredd 2012 because someone mentioned, oh yeah, it was not as bad as you would expect. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out again because I remember it being okay. I saw it before. Just the onslaught of emails, dude. All right, so we're still in high security mode. Good. I'm going to get the link. I'm going to go to the beta people. I'm going to put subject of the email is new compiler beta. I'm going to put the link in the email. And then I'm going to put the changelog in the email, as I always do. It's not a longer changelog this time, but I do believe that people will appreciate the things. Send. Okay. Now, as we always do, we start the change log for the next one. Okay, let's close some things here. Cool, cool. And it's Miller time. Unless I totally screwed that up. You know what? I did this one time ship out the wrong version to people, so let's make sure we didn't do that. Okay. #23. Okay, cool. Cool. So we did 3 how-tos in this beta, which is huge. We did that one, we did that one, we did that one. So if we just do that a few more times, we'll start to be being in good shape with regard to documenting the more advanced features. But I'm sure there's still a bunch of stuff that even experienced beta people know about. Well, the question is, do I do gaming tonight or do I not? I think maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, I was maybe going to go back to the game that Casey and I were playing and find out what happened to poor Dylan, but I have to start from scratch because his is locked. His game state is locked on his PS5 in a secure location because I shouldn't be allowed to see that game state. That's just not okay. It's got to be kept secure. The real shocker is Casey owning a PS5. Yeah, well, you know. All right, so we're going to play the game again from the beginning, and it won't matter that I'm kind of tired. Because we have to figure out what happened to poor Dylan, right? Okay, so I'm even going to restart the stream so that people get appropriate emails. Okay, stream will be back in one moment.